So Stargate we announced as a $500 billion investment in compute, shortcut way to talk about 10 gigawatts of compute being required. How do we get to that number? It's a big number, and I've just talked about these 3 scaling laws that are required. So more and more compute at every instance of a model's development. What I see today is, this is my investor pitch. It starts with, I make terrible business decisions every single day. Don't you want to give me money? I decide not to roll out models because I don't have enough compute. Sora, our video gen model, was ready to go in probably February, March of last year. We didn't roll it out until almost December, I think, truly. And it's not even fully rolled out. I think in Europe, I'm not even sure if it's all the way here in Europe right now. I decided not to roll out features. We rolled out deep research. We knew that the business community would love this feature. We didn't have enough compute to put it in the business queue. And the worst decision I make every single day is not to give researchers my most valuable resource, the compute they need to do the research they want to do. Most Mondays, Sam comes to work. He's mad at me because I personally have not brought enough compute to the work that day. And he wants to know what I'm going to do about it. Why am I in this position? Because 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the people who sat around that table making compute decisions could not imagine the speed with which we would need compute. They could not imagine how fast our business would have taken off. Like literally in 2 years, we have grown to 400 million weekly active users, and our revenue has tripled every single year. This will now be the 3rd year in a row that's tripled, so you can kind of imagine the sort of scale we might be at. Do I blame those people? Sometimes on Monday mornings I do. And then I think, oh my goodness, it must have been so hard to really see that. And then I think, okay, Sarah, if you're here in 3 years and that is the problem, you should get fired. So I do not want to get fired. I might die before I get fired at the pace this place goes at. But I do want to make sure that we are not running into being compute constrained. And I think that in 3 years from now, we will look back and laugh at how we were losing our minds at 500 billion being like such a big number. Now, it is a big number because 10 gigawatts of IT load or even utility load, again, good ChatGPT moment, like Ireland, so I kind of think the island of Ireland uses about 7 gigawatts. So the whole country uses less than we're talking about. So that does raise questions about just how do you scale that up? Where is the power going to come from? How do we think about a world of renewables and so on? And how do we think about our climate and our environment as we do that? How do we think about reskilling populations to be able to do that sort of build, right? Turns out electricians, HVAC people, it's truly resources that can constrain build-outs. And so this is where I think governments are particularly interested in something like Stargate, because while it is both a financial investment, it is also a total rethinking of jobs, of economic development zones, of how to stay ahead. And then geopolitics starts to come to bear too, because we are in a race with China, as we just saw with DeepSeek. And we should not take that lightly, because that has ramifications for things like national security as well.